Hi guys, it's David here from Right On Resources, and this video has been made to help us look at exaggeration. So this video specifically is going to look at how English speakers use exaggeration and why it is so important in both our reading and in our writing. This video has actually been made at a request that someone made after commenting on one of my videos. So someone called Seren said, I'd like to thank you for all your hard work. Could you make videos about how to improve our writing skills, especially for non-native speakers? So this has been designed to help people who aren't native speakers of English understand exaggeration. This is a very important part of the English language, and it is something that we use in our day-to-day conversations quite a bit. So what is exaggeration and why is it important? Exaggeration is also called hyperbole. It's an important aspect of the English language. It is often used in conversation or writing to help express the emotions of the speaker. Now we often use exaggeration because that really helps get across the emotions of how we're really feeling in that situation. So these are important because statements where we use exaggeration help us to express ourselves a bit better. Sometimes, however, these can be a bit confusing to non-native speakers of the language. So you might hear these things in everyday conversations and they might seem a little bit confusing if you're not someone who's been speaking the English language for a long time. So we're going to have a look now at a few of the common phrases that we use and a few of the things we exaggerate in our everyday lives. Look at the example and consider how the person is feeling. So if you have a look at the image on the left hand side, you can see that he's pushing over a number of boxes and they each have a specific word on there. So we have things like stress, problems, anxiety, deadlines, work, all these kind of things that we have to deal with as adults in our day-to-day lives. This is a kind of a typical example we could use to exaggerate how this person might be feeling. I am so busy, I have a million things to do. So it can sometimes feel like that when we have lots of things and they're stacking up against us, that you have literally a million things to do. However, in this case, they've used a hyperbole or exaggeration to emphasize how many things they have to do and how stressed and overwhelmed they're feeling at that moment. Now we're going to look at two main areas of English language, and these can be categorized as figurative and literal language. So first of all, we're going to have a look at figurative language. So this is where we use a figure of speech, such as exaggeration, to help get a message or point across. Other forms of exaggeration include things like metaphors, similes, and personification. If you'd like to learn more about these, then please check out our other videos, and they go into the kind of techniques that you're going to need to know for high levels of functional skills and also your GCSE qualification as well, should you choose to stay with English for that long. The other one is the literal meaning. So this is very different from figurative language. So this is where either a writer or speaker means exactly what they are saying. They are not exaggerating and there is no hidden meaning behind what they are trying to say. Now we're going to have a look at a table with some of the common expressions that we use in everyday British language. So these are some common expressions that we use when we're trying to exaggerate how we're feeling or a situation we might be facing. Let's have a look at each one. Over here on the left hand side you have the examples of exaggeration. I want you to pause the video now and have a think. Can you come up with the explanation yourself? Are there any that you know already? So again, if you'd like to pause them and go through them yourself, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm now going to talk through the answers. So if you have a look at the first one, I have a million things to do. That was the one that we looked at on the previous slide. And we know clearly from that that the speaker has a lot of things to do. If you think back to that previous picture, he had things like stress, he had deadlines, work and things like that. That was all kind of building up. So he said he had a million things to do, which of course is over exaggerating. He's making out that he has a lot of things to do and it's causing him a lot of stress and anxiety. My children are driving me up the wall. Okay, so specifically one for parents. The parent is having difficulty dealing with his or her children. They're kind of going hyper or running around a lot and not behaving as they should, and they're causing them some stress or anxiety. I'm so busy, I feel snowed under. So we don't mean literally that there's a lot of snow that is covering us. We mean that the speaker or the writer feels overwhelmed by everything they're doing. The next one, I'm starving. I'm sure we've all thought about this one before. The speaker or writer is simply saying that they're very hungry. I have a mountain of homework. Again, not literally meaning they have a mountain of homework. The speaker or writer has a lot of homework to complete. And the final one, I think I'd lose my head if it wasn't screwed on. Now this is a very common form of exaggeration in British language, and all we mean there is that the speaker or writer is so forgetful or clumsy they're exaggerating, saying that they lose everything all the time, and that they'd even lose their head if it wasn't firmly attached. Look at the statement below. Identify where exaggeration has been used to express how the writer feels. Football is my favourite sport. My heart explodes with pride when I watch my team play. I'd love to go to more games, but I'm snowed under at work. There is nothing worse than doing paperwork all day. Next paragraph. I will see them play in 2 weeks' time, but I have a million things to catch up with before then. So if you'd like to pause the video now, have a look, see if any of this is using exaggeration to get the writer or the speaker's point across, then that's fine. I'm going to go ahead now and start looking through the answers on the next slide. Check your understanding against the answers below. So here we have the same extract that we just looked at, the same example from the same speaker, and now we're just going to see where has the person used exaggeration. So football is my favourite sport. I'm sure that is the case, that it is in fact his favourite sport. My heart explodes with pride when I watch my team play. Now this of course is going to be exaggeration, because for your heart to explode with pride, exploding hearts are going to be very dangerous and cause some serious health conditions, I'm sure. They don't really mean that. What they mean is that it's something that makes them really happy and causes a great deal of pride to affect them. I'd love to go to more games, but I'm snowed under at work. Again, that's the other example that we looked at on the previous slide. So being snowed under at work is of course exaggeration. It means that they have a lot of work to do, or a lot of things that are going to get most of their attention instead. There is nothing worse than doing paperwork all day. Of course, if we really stop and we think, there is of course things that we could consider that are worse than doing paperwork. So again, that would be another example of exaggeration. So there's nothing worse than doing paperwork all day is of course exaggeration. We move on and look at the next part then. I will see them play in 2 weeks' time, but I have a million things to catch up with before then. Again, we have a million things to catch up on. The speaker isn't speaking literally, they're speaking figuratively. They're using exaggeration there to say that they're very, very busy and are struggling to find time to catch up on this hobby or passion that they have. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you now. If you want to spend some more time going over it, then that's fine. We're now going to move on and have a look at a challenge instead. Look at the challenges to practice using exaggeration in your own writing. So the first one says, write a message to a friend about a recent holiday trip you went on. Now, this doesn't have to be something that really happened. You can make it up. All we're looking for here is to think about this next challenge, which says to use exaggeration to help explain the good or bad parts of the journey. So it doesn't matter if you've actually gone on a journey recently, or if it was a good or a bad one. What I'm really looking at is you to be a bit creative, try and use exaggeration and try and use it to get across the point you're trying to make about your journey or the trip that you've went on. And the last one, use the success criteria on the next slide to help assess your writing. So what we're going to have a few bullet points there just to help us see what you need to include in our writing to make sure that you're using exaggeration effectively. Use the points below to mark your own work. So once you've been able to complete your own piece of writing, use these points to help see if you've actually achieved what we were trying to achieve in this video. So in your response, you should use exaggeration to help express your ideas. Again, a good idea would to be look back at the rest of the things in this video, have a look at a few of the examples and see if you can use them to make your own points or ideas. Write in clear, coherent manner. Use paragraphs appropriately and use the correct spelling and punctuation. So these last three are typically very important at all facets of the English qualifications, all the way up from your entry level, ESOL, even GCSE English as well. So if you're able to do these and include them in your writing, then it's a really key and powerful skill for you to have to help you progress in the qualification. If you need any additional support or help, then new videos will be added every single week. Alternatively, please leave us a comment below or visit our partner channel Bookworm Teaching for more lessons and guidance on all things English. Thanks a lot, guys, and keep up the good work. If you do need anything, please give us a comment below.